Sudanese President Omar Hassan al-Bashir made his final trip to the southern capital Juba on Tuesday, offering a hand of peace to the southerners he battled for so long. The trip is thought to be his last as the country's president. His visit was seen by some as allaying fears that the northern government would refuse to let go of the south, which has 70% of Sudan's oil output.
What remains now are some of the most contentious issues, namely the referendum and the demarcation of the borders. After this, we will continue talking on the arbitration of Abyei. We will negotiate and solve the problems. God willing, before the period ends on July 9th, we will be able to work out an amicable solution for all these outstanding issues.
Well, joining us in the studio for more perspective on the upcoming referendum is Omer Ismail, advisor for the Enough Project, an organization helping to build a permanent constitution to prevent crimes against humanity. Mr. Ismail, welcome to In Focus.
Thank you, Vincent.
Now, if you take it from Mr. Bashir's visit to Juba, what do you make of that? Does this allay all fears that it could be having an intention anymore of undermining the process?
It could be, and it couldn't be something else. I think it is important for him at this juncture to show that he is accepting the fact that the South is going to secede, and that the government in the north is now kind of like dealing with this situation. Because what is the alternative? The alternative is antagonizing the southerners, alienating the international community, and getting Sudan into more problems. So he's trying to do that to quieten these fears and to say that we are here extending a hand for cooperation, and also trying to work on the remaining issues that are, all these issues between the North and the South are not going to end by the time that we, give the results of the referendum.
Significantly, Abyei.
Absolutely. The Abyei issue, the borders between the two possible countries, what is happening with the oil that they share together.
Because
most of the oil in the south
produces the oil.
The oil. The north
Processing.
transports the oil. And what about citizenship? What happens to the northerners who are in the south and the southerners that are going to remain in the north? So what about the transitional period? Because the results of the referendum will come tomorrow, and the country of Southern Sudan, if you will, is not going to happen tomorrow.
How long is the transition period?
I believe it is 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Up to July. And some of these issues are going to go even beyond July. So there are many, many complicated
Well, the good thing we can say is that the Southern Sudan already has this self-rule, the semi-autonomous government, so probably at least things will be running. But let's look at something else. What really is the significance of this secession? This is a huge country, and this is going to be the first time in Africa that a big country will have to, if it happens, will literally break into an extra piece.
Yes, it is shocking to a lot of people, especially most of the people in the north, because they were not prepared for it. The government of Omer Bashir did not give them a chance to have a say on what is the future of the country. It's a dictatorship. There was no way for people to express their opinion freely. In the South, however, it is different. The people of the South were sensitized to this for a long time. After the peace agreement was signed, every Southerner knew by the end of the transitional period, they are going to face this choice. And they were preparing themselves for this choice. The people in the North were mostly in denial, because the government never gave them a chance to talk about the future of the country, not just the secession of the South, not in anything. So there was this sense of, oh, no, this is not going to happen. Until it hit them like, a train coming from the opposite direction. And they are now facing the reality.
And it is especially, I think, because also the leadership did not want to believe that this is going to happen. Leadership in Khartoum, in as much
absolutely,
as they
because
if
they give any sense that they believe this is going to happen, then the questions start rising. Why? How can we avoid this? How can we work with the Southerners to make unity attractive? How are we going to make our brothers in Darfur and elsewhere, where there are contentious issues with the center, address these issues so that we can live in a unified country? And basically, the government did not want to open that Pandora's box.
Now, looking at the bigger picture, we know that many African countries supported Southern Sudan when it was struggling under oppression. But now that there's a possibility of secession, a few countries have been a little uncomfortable with that concept. Why do you think that is the case?
Because of the precedent that when it occurs, the other African countries will look around and they see the image of Sudan reflected in their own countries. Look at the Romos in Ethiopia. Look at the Sar people in Chad. They are Southerners. They are Christians. And the oil now in Chad is in the south. It is almost the same situation that is happening in Sudan. We know the history of Nigeria. We know what happened with Katanga in the Congo. So many other countries that have the same issues. And if we are going to give the right of self-determination and the right of secession to the people of the south, what make other people who feel that they are different in a nation that its borders been drawn by the colonial powers? It was not the national powers that chose to be in this set country with these set boundaries. So what makes it easy for the people of Sudan and difficult for people elsewhere? They are going to ask these questions, and they are legitimate questions.
You are from Darfur. Do you think the people of Darfur, given the situation there, might use the southern secession, if it happens, as a bargaining chip, like a threat? If you don't give us our rights, we can go the way of the south.
Let us go and visit history. The voices that were calling for the secession of the South in the beginning of time, when Sudan was going for its own independence. And by the way, there was a call for self-determination. In fact, the Sudanese were given the chance for self-determination from the two colonial powers at the time that were ruling Sudan in a condominium, that is Egypt and the United Kingdom at the time. So that was a right that was given to the whole country, including the South, at the time in 1954. Until Sudan gained independence in 1956, there were voices in the South that were talking since 1955, especially after the incident of Taurit in August of 1955. There were voices in the South that were asking for self-determination at that time, but they were very limited, but they were very low voices. The volume wasn't that big. Look at what happened in about 50 years when these issues were not addressed. The volume became louder. More people are getting into this. The whole call for self-determination and secession from Sudan gathered steam, and now we are reaching this point. In Darfur, there were no voices today in Darfur. The situation is a little bit different, but who knows? Maybe not in my lifetime or your lifetime. Somebody else in 50, 60 years from today is going to ask for the same. And since they have a precedent with the South going its way today, who knows what that will lead to in the future of Sudan?
Now, beyond the excitement for the Southerners, what does this mean really to them? Okay, let's do this. Maybe talk about this a little later when we get a little more time, and explore a little further. I want to thank you. Let's first move on to a short break, and then we'll come back and continue.